Hi everyone, it's Megan here with Marigold Holistic Pet Care, and in this video we are going to talk about puppy biting. So I'm here with my client Lady, who is an absolutely adorable 8-week-old boxer puppy. I wanted to start out by talking to you about the normalcy of puppy biting and mouthing. So they're very, very curious, and that's how they communicate and engage with others. That comes very natural and instinctive. So if you have a puppy that's super curious and getting into things and biting on everything, you have a very healthy puppy. So kind of have a little perspective on that, and don't think of them as being so naughty. They don't come hardwired to know how they're supposed to act in the world, so we just kind of have to help them and guide them along the way. I want you to think of it like this way. I want you to prevent any types of behaviors, but in this case, puppy mouthing. I want you to try and prevent it, and I'll explain that to you. And then I also want you to train it. All right, the dogs don't know how to act in a human world. We've got to teach that to them. So we need to do it in such a way that we're not creating fear or any type of responses like that, because if we make them very fearful by being a little too forward with our corrections, like, you know, really harsh scolding and punishment, then we're teaching them a little bit of fear. And sometimes, you know, you can have a dog become aggressive due to fear. So first and foremost, don't punish your puppy. We want to prevent it, and we also want to train it. So don't think that scolding your puppy and giving them harsh punishments is going to do any bit of help for them. It's actually going to hurt them in the long run. I always want you to use toys during play. I don't want you to use your hands. When you use your hands to play with your puppy and roughhouse with them, you're actually teaching them that that's how they're to interact with you. So they think that your hands are toys. So always, always, always use a toy to play with your puppy. Another really great exercise that you can work on with your dog is what I call the impulse control exercise. You can do this with so many things, but when you work with your puppy on mouthing, you use this exercise to teach them that they can't always just go, go, go. They have to stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. So they are learning to not be so incredibly impulsive, which is typically what happens whenever they get real bitey and mouthy. They're being very impulsive. So they need to learn to slow it down a little bit. With this exercise, all you do is you play with your dog, and as they're biting at the toy and you're able to get the toy away from their mouth, hold it back from them, ask them to wait, have a little bit of impulse control. They don't have to sit, they don't have to stand, they don't have to do it down if you don't want them to. All they need to do is just not go after the toy. And as soon as they're calm, give them that toy and let them play with it so that they're learning that stop-go exercise, and they're not always like full tilt going 100 miles an hour.
Good girl. Get that squirrel. Get it. You tell him who's boss. Tell him who's boss. Yes, you get him. Oh, good girl. Yes. Okay, wait. Good girl. Okay, now you can have it. Yes, that's so good. Yes. Good girl. You get that squirrel. You get him. You get him. You tell him who's boss. Get him. Get that guy. Get that guy. Get that guy. Yes, get that guy. Okay, wait. Good girl. Yes, you get that squirrel. You tell him who's boss. You tell him who's boss. You get him. You get him. Get that boy. You get him. Yes, get him.
Another tip is to really, really burn their energy out. If you're burning out their energy, they're not going to have the energy to come to you with a lot of that naughty type of energy and start nipping and mouthing at you. So if we can control the play sessions and do them often, then we're going to give them an opportunity to burn out that energy, and they're not going to come to us with trying to bite and nip at us. Now, and this is on small occasions, that if your puppy does seem to be really heightened and overstimulated during play, after you've played for a little bit, it may be time for a timeout. Don't think that if your dog is coming to you and biting and mouthing at you that they should immediately go to a timeout. Timeouts are good, but they should never replace actually getting a lot of enrichment and stimulus. So if they are getting a little too heightened, it is okay to give them a little bit of a timeout, and then we can come back to play after a few minutes. Another important thing to remember is that puppies get a lot of their energy out during chew time. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of opportunities for high value chew treats. A couple of my favorites are bully sticks, Himalayan cheese chews, and some sort of horns and antlers are all really good go-tos. You can keep them very high value by maybe smearing a little bit of peanut butter on them, or soaking, your antlers and horns in chicken broth in the fridge overnight maybe, and then drying them off in the morning and handing them to your dog. Giving them opportunities on positive outlets to exhibit that natural behavior of chewing will really help diminish them on using that desire onto us, whether it be our hands or even our feet when we're walking. Something that I want you to remember, whenever you're playing with your puppy and you're engaging with them with a toy, they're going to get stimulated, okay? Sometimes there's going to be mistakes where they may just kind of grab your hand with their tooth on accident just because they're interacting with the toy. And that's okay. It's not particularly much to actually go and correct, but we want to really focus on times when our puppy is purposely coming out to mouth on us and nip at us and just completely disregard the toy, or just come to us out of nowhere doing that. That's when we want to really focus on helping redirect behavior, as well as set them up and prevent them from behaviors from happening. So if you have a time whenever your dog does start to get a little nippy, we want to make sure that we go straight into playing with them with a toy. Lots of redirection. If they start to come on our hands, we need to redirect with a toy. Now, if you are having a problem where your dog continues to just ignore the toy during playtime, what I want you to do is what's called attention withdrawal. So when you use attention withdrawal, you're pretty much taking away the interaction. So as soon as your puppy starts to bite at you, and it needs to be very immediate, you're just going to take your hands and you're going to pull them away. I like to cross my arms, kind of like I'm like being grumpy, or you can put them behind your back so that you're removing the attention and the playtime stops. And as soon as they're calm, then you can engage back with them, and then they will be able to learn that playtime stops when the mouthing starts, and then the playtime will continue whenever you are properly chewing on the toy. She's being perfect. It's hard to withdraw my attention, because going like this when they get too crazy, that's what you do. But this is perfect play. She's not being naughty at all. One of my favorite ways to teach our puppies how to interact with us is to work with them. And when I say work with them, you typically kind of want to focus on every day taking out time to practice some obedience. If you're just teaching sit and down and stay and come, that's fine. Those are the 4 basics. A good focus cue is another really great one to work on. But it kind of teaches your dog that the proper way to interact with me is with impulse control. So this will not only help your dog as a whole, but it will also really, really help with biting behaviors, because they're learning that when they're well behaved, they're reinforced, because the enforced behavior is always the dominant behavior. Come, sit.
Yes, good girl.
Ready? Sit.
Yes, good girl. Good girl.
Sit.
Yes, good girl.
Another really great tip to help your puppy learn that bite inhibition is to get them into play dates with other dogs. Now, we have to make sure that these dogs are very socially sound and can really safely communicate with young puppies, as well as healthy, making sure that they're up to date on vaccines and clear of any disease. That way we keep our puppies safe. But dogs will learn different communication tools from one another, and they will learn different bite inhibition levels. So my dog Cash has been able to interact with her today, given she's super pooped right now, and they can learn from each other. You know, my dog Cash is able to show her when too much is too much, and when to stop nipping and biting, and when to stop being so forceful and overstimulated. So getting that social interaction with other dogs can really, really help with not only their development as a whole, but also to help them learn that bite inhibition. Another tip that you can use to help your puppy learn that they're not to be biting at your ankles as you're walking is to work on an exercise that goes like this. What we'll do is we take a treat and we're going to walk, and we're going to have a treat in our hands, and we're going to have our puppy walk close to our legs right beside us. And every once in a while we're going to give them a treat to reinforce the behavior of just walking very nicely beside our feet. And this does so many things at once. First of all, it gives them the opportunity to practice walking beside you without biting at your ankles. Remember, the practice in enforced behavior is the behavior that's more dominant. So the more we practice this a couple times a day with our puppy, this exercise, then we're teaching them to not bite at our ankles as they see ankles walk by them. And that desensitizes them, so it doesn't become such a heightened state of stimulus for them to want to go after. And it also kind of teaches your dog to walk nicely beside you and close to your legs, because we want that. We want to have that when we get into loose leash walking, and even if we want to go so far as to teach a heel cue. But these are really, really good basics to teach our puppy, and the great thing about it is it actually covers many things in one exercise. Come here. Come on. Come on.
Yes, good girl. Come on. Good girl. Come on. Yes, good girl. Yes.
A quick little tip that I want to throw at you, and this really helps with herding dogs, but any puppy really can exhibit this behavior, is whenever puppies will try to bite at your feet when you're walking. That's a little difficult because you're not in the middle of playtime and it's not your hands, so what do you do about that? Big tip that I give people is you can take some muscle rub that has that real strong menthol scent to it, and you can kind of put it around your ankles, and the smell of that is kind of unpleasant. It doesn't give them any type of fearful feelings toward it or anything like some very harsh corrections can be. So it just kind of deters them with their scent, and they don't want to go after it. So that's a quick little tip for ankle biting. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Lady was such a sweetheart today, and I'm really glad that she was able to join me to show you guys some things that you can do to help your puppy with their puppy mouthing and their biting. So if you really like this video, give it a like, comment down below some of the things that you've used that have helped you with your puppy and their mouthing and biting problems, and I will see you guys next video. Make sure the dogs are very socially sound and social with other dogs properly. And social with other dogs properly. That doesn't make sense. Lady, sit. Jelly girl. Mwah. Somebody's tired. Somebody's a tired girl from being at Auntie Meg's house, huh? Yes, are you tired from being with me? See, a tired dog is a good dog. Hey, we gotta get up and work. How are we gonna show them biting if you're sleeping, you sweet baby? What are we gonna do? Are you taking your union break? Huh? Are you taking your union break? Oh, Bubba's. I don't want to wake her up. Don't they always say you never wake a sleeping baby?